Hello and thanks for joining us for this week's edition of France in Focus. I'm Tom Burgess-Watson, and in this edition we're examining the issue of becoming French, which brings us to the Pantheon here in the French capital, because it's inside this monumental building that some people are naturalized. And today there's one such special ceremony taking place. Let's go inside and take a look. Well, some 200 people from all corners of the globe are going to become French nationals at this special ceremony here at the Pantheon, marking the culmination of what has been a lengthy process. We're going to take you now to meet some of them to find out about who they are and just why it is they want to be naturalized as French citizens.
They come from 65 different countries, yet they're all united under one nationality. Among them, Enrique Mazzola. Born in Spain, this Italian conductor has been living in France for 6 years. He now directs the Île-de-France National Orchestra, and the reason he became French is his audience.
It's an incredible emotion to be able to say, I am French too, I am with you. But this time for real, because on a human level, of course, I'm with my audience. But now at last I'm as French as my audience here in Paris.
Whether in Paris, Tokyo, New York or Rome, Enrique Mazzola sees himself as an ambassador of French culture.
I am now a Frenchman, a French conductor, and I bring French opera and music to the rest of the world.
Music is what convinced Enrique Mazzola to stay. For Justin Hauser, it was the French way of life. Born in Chicago, Justin grew up in New York and arrived here 12 years ago.
Oui, un peu fatigué, j'ai hâte pour le week-end.
Now he defines himself as a true Parisian. Adapting to local traditions, however, hasn't always been easy.
Mon premier repas avec beaucoup de monde, c'est 3 heures et c'était vraiment difficile pour moi pour rester à table 3 heures. Et maintenant, c'est l'inverse quand je visite ma famille aux États-Unis. À bout de 20 minutes, tout le monde est fini. Comme ça.
For Justin, becoming French isn't just a right. It's about finding his place in the country he now calls home.
Après, au bout d'un moment, on veut être impliqué complètement. Pas juste un guest pass, juste pour avoir un certificat concret.
Daniela Garcia-Pedza was born in Venezuela. She came to Paris in 2009 after winning a scholarship from the French government. It didn't take long, however, before she realized she was in a precarious situation.
There were times when I felt really alien. Every time I came back, whether from a work trip or from a holiday with friends, I had to show my passport. Oh, so you have a visa. What are you doing here? And I would have to explain why I was in France. It was hard.
To apply for French citizenship, Daniela had to gather and translate dozens of documents. The whole process took 2.5 years. Now she says she couldn't be happier, but she also realizes that with a new passport come new responsibilities.
I feel a little pressure in the sense that now when I vote, it will count. So I have to choose well, to read more about politics, to be aware of everything that's going on in this country.
Like most other naturalized citizens, Daniela now has dual citizenship. Her roots may be in Venezuela.
Devenir français, il s'agit d'un acte qui engage.
Her life is here in France.
We're now at the police headquarters where each request for naturalization in Paris is examined, and we brought you here to find out more about the criteria and the rules behind the process. Well, Well, we're joined now by Julien Marion, who is the head of the General Police, which looks after administration and, amongst other things, naturalization. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. What are you looking for in the ideal candidate, in someone who's applying for French nationality?
The ideal candidate is someone who doesn't just fulfill the criteria of length of time in France and integration, but also someone that we are convinced subscribes to the French Republic's values and what France stands for. And this is what we check over the course of a 3/4-hour assimilation interview. The interviewer will check that the person knows the symbols of France, the name of the national anthem, the country's main geographic landmarks, knows about its culture, be it literary, artistic, or even its gastronomy. We want to know that the person has a sincere bond with France and to its values.
What about in the Paris area? What's the typical profile of someone asking for French nationality in this part of the country?
The main distinctive feature of applicants in Paris is that, for the vast majority, around 90%, it's a choice to become French. That is to say, it's not for family reasons. 90% of people who apply here are motivated by a strong personal choice. That's the main distinction, aside from the number of applicants, which is of course substantial.
Have you noticed changes in the trend of how people are applying? Which countries are perhaps seeing an increase in their numbers of applications?
No, there's generally quite a lot of continuity. All the countries, all 4 corners of the world are represented. But of course, we get more applications from countries who have historic ties or a special relationship with France. I'm thinking in particular of countries in North or Central Africa who have a common history with France.
And Brexiters, perhaps?
Personally, I haven't noticed a significant effect on applications from the Brexit decision. We continue to receive applicants from Britain, but that was already the case before.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed, Julien Marion. Thank you for speaking to us.
You're welcome.
So what is the procedure you have to follow if you want to become a naturalized French citizen? Well, let's take a look now at a breakdown of the process.
To submit a French naturalization request, you must be older than 18 and reside in France for a minimum of 5 years consecutively. But this time may be reduced in certain cases. A foreign student who has obtained a diploma from a French university can request citizenship after just 2 years of residency. And individuals who have completed military service or voluntarily enlisted in the French army do not have to fulfill a minimum residency requirement. The same applies to refugees. To become a French citizen, the candidate must be assimilated into French society. That entails speaking French, knowledge of French history, and adherence to the values of the Republic. A public official is responsible for interviewing the candidates. Those who fulfill all of the conditions will sign the Charter of Rights and Duties of the French citizen. Finally, those who have been convicted of a serious criminal offence, either in France or abroad, cannot request citizenship. Applicants must demonstrate exemplary civic behaviour, particularly with respect to paying taxes. In 2017, 83,674 people obtained French citizenship. About a quarter of applications were rejected.
Well, for more, we're joined now by Sarah Mazouz, who is an author of the book La République et ses autres, which is a book which examines the whole issue of naturalization here in France and all the policies that surround that process. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Let me start by asking you, the title of this book, La République et ses autres, the Republic and its other people, and the others. Who are these others?
It depends. I mean, there are different categories of others. I mean, for our topic today, it's like the foreigners who decided to become French, so they shifted from foreign status to French national. And in my book, there's also the whole question of like racial process within the French society and the way in which it makes differences and inequalities.
So what's an example of the reality of someone who's experiencing this different treatment? How does it manifest itself, that racial profiling you described?
It can happen throughout the process of naturalization and the interaction with the officers of the naturalization service, and then after being granted the French citizenship, it can be in everyday life when people think you are not French because of how you appear, because of your color, your skin color, your way of talking, because you wear a veil, etc.
So you've mentioned the fact that people are racially profiled. Do you get a feeling that the system is profiling people according to their financial and educational background?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think it may come after, but the most important thing is the labor status and the fact to have an unlimited contract, a permanent situation as to labor and employment. And then, of course, if the applicant has good credentials or is a wealthy person, it may help. But the most important things, because of the set of requirement, is the labor status.
All right, well, Sarah Mazouz, author and sociologist, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. Thank you. Well, that's it for this week's edition of France in Focus. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and I'll see you again soon on France 24.
French Connections, presented by Florence Villeminot.
They're known for their cuisine and saying hello with a kiss. They only work 35 hours per week, when they're not on strike, that is. How true are these clichés about France? Every week, Florence Villeminot tears apart stereotypes. Join us for insight into French culture and current events to understand what makes the French so unique.
French Connections on France 24 and France24.com.